Guys of a Certain Age is brought to you by no one. Absolutely no one. Except these dudes walking down memory lane. Now let's head to the studio to see what they misremember next.
It's that special time of the week, at least for Art Nights, Guys of a Certain Age, the podcast about nothing.
That's right. Seinfeld ripped us off, although he did it 20 years before we did.
But it doesn't matter. Right. It doesn't matter. Robbie Koblitz alongside
Art Shirley.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of jumped into.
It's okay.
That's never happened before,
That's never happened, yeah.
And do we know where Jay is?
Jay is at Jacob's graduation.
I just came from David's graduation.
Graduation, that's right.
My oldest. How bad was traffic leaving Mississippi State?
No, not bad. Apparently, the timing was just perfect, because I'm sure had we done this 30 minutes earlier, I would have been bottlenecked.
So what they've done is they're asking you, your graduates will leave the stage. They will go outside. Please leave when your graduates leave.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So you have all the staggered exodus from the Humphrey Coliseum, which was kind of cool. So
it cut some of the circumstance down.
Yeah.
Pomp, but maybe less circumstance.
Less circumstance.
That's right.
They only played Pomp and Circumstance for like 6 minutes at the front end of it.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. All right.
Yeah, and traffic coming in wasn't bad. I thought we'd have a lot of parking problems, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Not that our listeners care, but some of them do. I guess some of them are still on campus.
Occasionally. There are a couple on campus.
That's
at
right.
least. And a couple who probably should listen who are on campus,
That's
but
right.
they don't.
That's right.
Not their target. No, they're not our target demographic.
That's true.
Let's jump into Geeks of the Week. I saw something very interesting that Kurt Russell is being rumored to play Superman's dad, Jor-El, in the upcoming James Gunn Superman Legacy reboot.
That's very cool.
It really is cool. And this is the quote from Russell. He says, yeah, I'll take on Marlon Brando. I mean, there was something awesome about the way he was just looking around. I don't care that he was looking at his lines. He's crazy great to watch. So, yeah.
Kurt Russell really is one of the coolest guys ever.
He really is.
And of course, we were talking before we started. He played Peter Quill's father, Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord's father.
Yeah.
So, he's used to playing the fathers of superhero people.
So it just looks like, James Gunn is just taking as many Guardian people as he can.
No kidding, right? Yeah. I mean, so that's what, it worked for him, so I guess so.
Yeah.
But Kurt Russell is always good.
I mean, that would be, the Jor-El character, the way Brando played it, he just had this gravitas about him, regardless if he was looking at his lines or not, But, he was top billing on that movie.
He was, absolutely was, yeah.
I mean, like top billing.
I think so, yeah. I think it was Marlon Brando and then who played Luther? Gene Hackman. Just a complete blend.
And then introducing Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I think so.
So, but that was part of his cash grab towards the end of his life. So, but anyway. But I think Kurt Russell would be kind of fun as a Jor-El.
I think he'll be really good. I'm getting more and more excited about this. I think it may be good.
Yeah. Now, did you watch Shazam? Not Shazam. Aquaman Lost Kingdom yet? Have you watched that? The latest Aquaman, or have you tried to watch it?
The Aquaman, is it out?
Is it not on HBO Max?
I thought it was in theaters.
Man,
coming to theaters.
I thought it was on.
No, it's coming to theaters.
Yeah, I don't really pay much attention, Jay.
If it's on HBO Max, I'll definitely watch it, but I think it's coming to theaters.
Blue Beetle's now on HBO Max.
Yeah, I did watch that. It was fun, kind of Power Ranger-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may have to watch it.
Probably a little too long. Could have cut 30 minutes out of it.
To make it 60 minutes long?
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, so because Aquaman's coming out this holiday season.
Right.
So, it's going to be curious. That's the last of the
James Gunn.
Yeah. So, anyway.
And they may keep Jason Momoa, but they may make him Lobo instead.
Man, he would be such a great Lobo.
He would be a good Lobo. Yeah.
I think he'd be a better Lobo
than
or a logo
Aquaman.
Than Aquaman.
I like him as Aquaman, but yeah, you could see his personality, his look fitting Lobo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, all right, what you got?
Mine's sad news. Denny Laine, who was once with the Moody Blues and is probably best known, at least to me anyway, who cares about anybody else, as the only other regular member of the band Wings, along with Paul McCartney and Linda McCartney. It was the band that Paul started after he left the Beatles. He did a solo album first and then wanted to start a band and kind of get back to the early band experience. they took the band, they put a band together, and then they toured around small clubs and would just pop in places people didn't know who they were, and they would just drive around in a van and do that. Well, Denny Laine was the only member that they went through several incarnations, several guitar players, drummers, and
Joe English was one of his original drummers.
Yeah, and
who went on to have a long Christian rock career. That's how I know that.
That's right. Yeah. But Denny Laine stayed with them from the beginning of the thing to the Back to the Egg, which is the last album that Wings recorded. And then he did some solo stuff after that. But anyway, he passed away. He passed away this past week, which is also the week that we're celebrating what is arguably the best Wings album, Band on the Run. It came out 50 years ago this week. So
wow.
Hard to believe, 50 years ago, yeah.
So what's your favorite Wings tune?
Oh, that's a good question. It used to be like Jet. I like Mull of Kintyre a whole lot, which didn't do well in the United States, and I didn't hear it till it was on the Greatest Hits album.
Yeah.
But it's got to be, I think hands down it's got to be Band on the Run, though.
Not Live and Let Die?
I like Live and Let Die a lot, too. Yeah, I really like Live and Let Die. But Band on the Run is just really a kind of a complete song.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, it's really hard. Uncle Albert Admiral Halsey is great. That sounds very much like a song that he would have written in the Beatles days.
Yeah.
Oh, no, hang on a second. It's what is it? Oh, gosh, dog.
The only two.
Maybe I'm Amazed is my favorite.
So that's it. Oh,
yeah.
So that's a Wings tune.
That's a Wings tune. Yeah.
See, I always thought that was a Beatles.
There
tune.
were some that I remember thinking were Beatles songs, and that were Wings songs, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Kind of later days, especially when you're I was 9 or 10 years old, I guess, at that point. And, you just heard stuff on the radio, and we didn't have any access to some type of, World Wide Web or anything.
The only time you would know what the tune was if the DJ back sold it.
Right, yeah. And a lot of times you just hear the middle of it, and then, especially if you're a small town, you might not even hear the whole song.
Yeah.
But, yeah, maybe I'm Amazed the live version is my favorite.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but all those, I mean, like I said, I'm really a big fan of his Wings work, and Paul McCartney is still making albums, so it's good stuff. But Denny Laine unfortunately has passed away. He's no longer making albums.
What about he after Wings broke up, he went to the Moody Blues?
No, he was in the Moody Blues first.
Gotcha.
And part of the live set was he would do "Go Now" from which was his song from the Moody Blues. He would sing that, and he co-wrote some songs with Paul McCartney, Mull of Kintyre being one of them.
Yeah,
I think he co-wrote something from London Town. I can't remember what that is, but anyway, that album. So he was more than just like a guitar player. Actually, contributed some stuff too.
So he played on Nights in White Satin.
I don't know if he was still around with Nights. I think he may have been part of the Moody Blues when they were just starting out, and then may have left before the Nights of White Satin era.
Yeah,
I'll have to look it up. Should have looked it up beforehand, but
why do that?
Why prepare?
Yeah.
Jay's not here. We don't prepare.
No, there's no notes.
There's no notes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, all right.
So, but we were talking about this before. Denny Laine's not the only celebrity who passed away this week. We also lost the brilliant TV creator Norman Lear, and have decided to, I think, pay a bigger tribute to Norman Lear than we normally do.
Yeah, without Jay, we can talk all we want. So
right.
We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the legacy of Norman Lear, what he brought to TV, and how he's impacted. Up next. And we're back. No Jay, but plenty of Art and Rob. We're going to talk Norman Lear. So for those of you who are playing along at home, Norman Lear was one of the most influential TV creators and producers of the 70s and early 80s, but he kind of owned the 70s.
Yeah, I would say that's very true. Yeah.
He died last week as or earlier this week as we're recording this.
Yeah.
101 years old.
Was he 101? Okay, I knew he was like 100. I didn't know if he'd had his 101st birthday, but he was born in 22.
Yeah.
So he made it to 101.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was part of a group that included Dick Van Dyke, Mel Brooks, and Carl Reiner. And they would all get together and still, had fun together. And Norman Lear was still working on projects.
He was. And guys who could not get work today,
that's
with the current climate. Especially those Reiner Brooks productions.
Yes. All the Mel Brooks movies and stuff. Yeah.
There's no way you could get Blazing Saddles made today.
Could All in the Family have been made, which was probably, I would say, Norman Lear's most famous sitcom that he produced,
or as it became known as Archie Bunker.
Archie Bunker.
We're going to watch Archie Bunker.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, here's just a list of some of the stuff he produced. I just had it here. Let me see if I can pull it up and go. Wow. So All in the Family. Well, he had a show in 59 called The Deputy that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So,
I figured he probably had some shows before. Obviously, you don't just get to produce All in the Family out of nowhere, but yeah.
But he created All in the Family, Sanford and Son, Maude, Good Times, and Jefferson, One Day at a Time, Mary Hartman.
Yeah.
I'm looking at stuff that you might recognize. Different Strokes.
Yeah. See, I didn't realize he did Different Strokes.
And that's about, there was Sunday Dinner, which I can't remember what Sunday Dinner was.
No. I think the ones you've mentioned are probably and there may be something in there that I'm not looking at the screen, but there may be something else in there. But but those are kind of the juggernauts. I don't remember the dumplings.
Hot L Baltimore.
I do remember Hot L Baltimore.
Do you?
It was Hotel Baltimore, but the E had burned out, so it was called Hot L Baltimore.
The Nancy Walker Show.
Yeah.
All That Glitters. Fernwood Tonight
was one of my favorite shows of all time. It was a spinoff of Mary Hartman.
I never heard of it.
Oh my gosh! It was just. It was only in syndication, and at that time, would have been. We were still living in Long Beach, so this would have been 78 rather, and it was a talk show. And it became Fernwood Tonight, then went on to become America Tonight. But it was Fernwood Tonight, it was great, and it was Martin Mull and Fred Willard. And Martin Mull was the host, and Fred Willard was the Ed McMahon type.
Yeah.
And they would have on local celebrities. There were never any real celebrities, but there were people that from around Fernwood, and they would come on and talk about it. And it was just a send up of all these talk shows. And Martin Mull was brilliant, as was Fred Willard.
So kind of like the Gary Shandling show.
Yeah, but long before Gary Shandling.
Long before that.
And one of Martin Mull's favorite things that he said is he would talk to a guest, and the guest would be talking, and he would go, "Well, that's so very nearly interesting," which I think I have used that line on this podcast before, so credit to him for
That's
that.
funny.
But that was really good. But Mary Hartman, do you remember that one?
Vaguely.
Yeah, that was one that was really pushing the envelope. I think he had gotten into syndication at that point, so he could do some things that were probably very tame by today's standards.
Yeah.
But, were pushing the envelope of what he could do on network television.
Yeah. A couple others. A Year at the Top.
A Year at the Top?
A Year at the Top.
I remember the title, but I don't remember the show at all.
America Tonight. After Different Strokes. Hanging In.
Okay.
The Baxters, which I vaguely remember.
The Baxters sounds kind of familiar, yeah.
Palmerstown, USA. And then AKA Pablo.
I don't remember that one at all.
And then...
did he do Chico and the Man?
Did not do Chico and the Man. He did The Powers That Be, which I vaguely remember that. That was like a 91, 92. So you had
I do remember that, yeah.
Powers That Be, 704 Hauser, and then Channel Umpteen 3.
Channel Umpteen 3.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember that one at all.
Don't remember that one at all. So, but his
and All in the Family. A lot of those shows were spinoffs.
Yeah.
So like All in the Family was Maude was spun off of All in the Family.
Yeah. So was Sanford. So was the Jeffersons.
Right. And then Good Times was a spinoff of Maude. And so,
I didn't realize that.
because Florida had been Maude's maid at the time.
Gotcha.
And then they started showing her family. Just really and really, they shared a commonality, and they were very topical, and they weren't afraid to address tough issues.
Yeah.
But they were all done. They were very different shows.
Yeah.
The Good Times is very different from what All in the Family was.
And very different than One Day at a Time.
Yeah. Which was, I don't remember if that was a spinoff, but I do remember that was probably one I watched more than the other ones. Actually, Good Times and One Day at a Time, I guess I had to have a day in them for me to watch them. All in the Family I liked, but I was really probably just a little, even I was just a little too young to kind of pick up on it, but we would watch it, know. And we watched Maude.
I remember Maude in first run.
Yeah.
I remember All in the Family the later years, and then of course that had Rob Reiner on it, as Meathead.
Yes,
Meathead.
Sally Struthers, and
Archie.
Yeah. Well, Sally was the daughter.
Oh yeah.
So Edith was
the wife.
Martin Stapleton. Yeah. That's really good. Wow.
Yeah.
We found your voice.
Yeah.
Now. That's what. Yeah. That's good.
Oh, Edith.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great. And
Stay for yourself there, Edith.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things, I mean, Carol O'Connor was brilliant. Of course, this was...
And Carol O'Connor was 180 degrees from the character of Archie Bunker.
Well, then he goes to play the lead in Heat of the Night, the TV show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But one of the things I loved about All in the Family was the simple intro.
Yes.
It was just those two singing Those Were the Days at the piano. Just very, very, very simple.
And Family Guy, obviously, you know, that's what they are paying homage to, or ripping off whichever way you decide to go. And that's the other thing, too. All these shows, not only did they, you know, lay the groundwork for later shows because of the way they pushed the envelope and explored topical ideas, it seems like to me, Norman Lear represents a maturity of television.
Yes.
You know, you see Lucy and shows of that type as kind of the infancy of television. By the time you get to like the Brady Bunch and stuff, you're starting to see shows that are fun and entertaining, but, you know, only rarely a very special episode would address a topical issue. And then by the time you get to All in the Family and all the ones that it begat.
Well, so All in the Family addressed Vietnam. It addressed race relations.
Yeah.
You know, you had George Jefferson, who was a dry cleaner.
Yeah.
You know, that was, I believe they were neighbors.
Yes.
To the family. And then he ends up, if I remember correctly, Jefferson ends up selling something and then moving on up.
Moving on up, yeah. And
to the Upper East Side.
Show. We probably watched the Jeffersons more so than anything else, just because, to me, Sherman Hensley was so funny.
Well, and the Jeffersons showed middle, upper class African-American family, which had not really been shown at all.
That's right.
Maude, I don't remember a whole lot about it.
Maude was one that, you know, I remember we watched, but it was probably one I would appreciate more now than I did then. But yeah, it just was. It wasn't one that hit with me as a teenager at the time.
So I'm looking through here, and then just
other than Adrienne Barbeau being on there, who of course later went on to Escape from New York, and Swamp Thing when she became John Carpenter's wife.
So All in the Family, the catchphrase was Archie, Edith. And then, Good Times, Dynamite.
Jimmy J.J. Walker.
That's right. In Different Strokes, what you talking about, Willis?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, these are part of the the vernacular. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Of our lives now, and some people may not even realize where they come from.
That's right. That's right.
But and like I said, I had completely forgotten he did Different Strokes. Did he do Silver Spoons as well?
No.
Okay.
No,
it's interesting because
he didn't do Archie's Place either, which was the follow up to All in the Family.
That right? So that was somebody else that did that. Okay.
Yeah.
And Archie, like you said, dealt with things. I mean, Edith was raped at one point, and that was a very, very serious thing.
I'd forgotten about that.
And then she died, and then the way, because Maureen Stapleton was ready to leave the show,
she was afraid of being typecast.
Yeah, her contract was. I mean, there are pictures I've seen now of her in leather gear, like at Studio 54 with Alice Cooper, and you go, I know, I'm sorry, this just doesn't work for me.
Wow.
She was a very different character from who she was. Very talented actress, but unfortunately she became Edith and really never could shake that.
Yeah.
And even though Carol O'Connor, was obviously identified with Archie Bunker, thanks to In the Heat of the Night, he was able to, I think, to kind of to shake that a little bit.
Yeah.
And Rob Reiner, I think, wisely decided that behind the cameras where his future lay, and thankfully he did, because now we've got another This Is Spinal Tap coming up.
That's right. It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
I mean, Rob Reiner, if you think about, Rob Reiner, he directed Misery, Princess Bride, Spinal Tap, When Harry Met Sally, all heavily influenced by Lear.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, he had known Lear since he was a kid, since his dad was Carl Reiner.
Yeah.
And, grew up with him, being around, that.
Can you imagine that childhood?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. That'd be something else.
Yeah. So, just incredibly influential.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, so this is from Wikipedia. Before All in the Family, television sitcoms in the 50s and 60s generally portrayed white American family life as comfortable and avoided raising issues such as racial discrimination and the patriarchy. Beginning in 1971, All in the Family openly discussed social and political topics of the day and became the country's most popular show for 5 straight years.
Yeah. See, I was 9 when it debuted. So that, like I said, it was a show that was on, but it wasn't something that I really could have appreciated as much as I probably would now.
Yeah.
But certainly, like I said, the influence, you see that their influence, continuing, and things, like I said, even from Family Guy, and then Sean Hayes from Will and Grace said, Will and Grace never would have happened without Norman Lear.
Yeah.
You had to break that ground. You had to break that ground first.
Yeah.
So, and he was still doing, like I said,
He was.
still doing stuff, but they had done these things, and I don't know if you ever watched them, where they would do an episode of All in the Family or Sanford and not Sanford and Son, but I think it was I guess it was the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
That was the pairing. Yeah. So
I never saw
and you would
it. I
have
wish
it
I
with
would've.
modern. That I'm sure you could find it somewhere.
Yeah.
But you would have it with modern actors playing the parts, and it was really, really good. I think Woody Harrelson played Archie Bunker. I can't remember.
That's right.
And Marissa Tomei played Edith, and she was incredible. Really got the voice down and the whole mannerisms.
Archie!
Yeah. If you had been available, I'm sure that you'd been able to play him.
So he was in 2020. They were going to he was going to executive produce a revival of Who's the Boss, and at the time of his death, he had multiple shows in development, including a reboot of Mary Hartman.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So. He executive produced a documentary with Lin-Manuel Miranda about Rita Moreno.
Oh, yeah, but that's good.
Yeah. So I just don't remember Mary Hartman.
I'm telling you, it was syndicated. It was on like at 10:30 at night. It just was. I remember less about the individual episodes than I do, because I don't think I watched it, than I do about the influence it had and people talking about it. Oh my gosh, if you see Mary Hartman. It was real, almost, scandalous thing to watch at the time. And like I said, I'm sure it's very tame now.
Says it had 2 seasons, but 325 episodes.
Good grief. It was very much done like a soap opera.
Okay.
I mean, I think it came out every day.
Okay.
And for 30 minutes. And it was, I think it was shot like a soap opera, so,
wow.
It's probably straight to tape.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's most soap operas were.
So I don't think there was a lot of post-production in it.
No, it's probably switched live. And, that's what you have to do.
And so if you think about it, I can't imagine how, soap opera actors do it, because that would be just incredible. Even though some of it is, it's not very
credible.
It takes 3 years to even get through a storyline, but Mary Hartman was, and they seemed like they would end on that kind of, somebody's character staring into the screen as some cliffhanger thing had happened. Be interesting to go back and see it. I don't know that I'd want to watch all 325 episodes, but I sure would.
I wonder where you could find it.
And Fernwood Tonight was a nightly show as well. Yeah. It was shot just kind of like a regular talk show, but
Sally Struthers. We always forget Sally Struthers.
Yeah, Sally Struthers, who played Gloria.
Yeah. Who ended up doing
the
correspondence school.
Kind of became an infomercial person for a long time.
Yeah.
She did a lot of cartoon voices. She was the voice of Pebbles, I think, on Pebbles and Baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It took place in Queens.
Yeah.
All the Family did. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, just an incredible legacy.
Yeah. Obviously, anytime somebody passes, we're sad to think about them gone, but you talk about somebody that had 101 years and certainly did so much with that time.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
When did Carol O'Connor pass away? 2001.
Wow, that's a lot longer ago than I realized.
Yeah. Archie Bunker's Place, In the Heat of the Night. I forgot he was on Mad About You. He was Helen Hunt's dad on Mad About You.
Really? I had forgotten that too. I always liked that show.
That was a great
I thought it was a really good show too.
Very underrated.
And you'll see Carol O'Connor in some movies, especially war movies. He's usually playing like some general or something.
Yeah. Just pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, we got through it without Jay. And hey, we're about 6 minutes shorter than we usually are.
Wow. Okay. So Jay must be we give him 6 minutes.
Jay's worth 6 to 8 minutes.
Do we make fun of Jay for 6 minutes?
It's a 6 to 8 minute window of mocking and information from Jay.
That's right. Okay, our New Year's resolution is to what? Continue to make fun of Jay?
But take it down to 4 minutes,
maybe 4 minutes. Yeah, we'll reduce the Jay mocking time. Mocking Jay. Our Hunger Games plug.
Yeah, that's it, because we're usually hungry when we record this show.
That's right.
Yeah, the true Hunger Games. All right, guys, y'all have a great holiday. We'll see you later.